power, they say, corrupts. So Aston Martin's DBS Superleggera must be in the automotive world the equivalent of an African dictator. That's because this car has a barely believable 533 kilowatts and, get this, a 900 newton meters of torque. That's absolute insanity. I think it's time we take this for a drive and see what it's like. Actually, before I do that, let's talk about the interior. Well, it's kind of DB11-ish, and that's not a bad thing. So it's got the usual Mercedes sat-nav, and this car actually shows how they've improved all the fit and finish and some of the materials they've used. I really like the mixture of carbon fibre. What else is new? There's a brand new steering wheel, new seats, and that's about it. Let's go and take it for a drive. So I will not lie, this car is a little bit intimidating when you first climb behind the wheel, especially if you have seen one at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, literally lighting up the tyres in 4th gear. This thing should be terrifying. But the thing is once you climb behind the wheel, well, initially, it doesn't feel that intimidating. And that is an incredible achievement considering the torque available. This thing should be undrivable in the wet, but you know what? It actually rained earlier. We are in southern Germany after all. And this thing, well, it showed some surprising amount of traction. I love the fact that Aston Martin has finally woken up and given the DBS Superleggera proper paddles. These are straight from the Vantage, and you know what? They're better for it because you can actually find them when you're in the heat of battle. The V12 twin turbo really does dominate this car. I mean, it's the way it dishes up the power is just borderline insane. I mean, right now, 4,000 RPM, we just fly along the road. But at 4,000 RPM, this thing's just only getting into its stride. It's when you really, really stretch this car, that's when it punches home how much power and torque are available. A special mention must go to the steering. It's really quick, but you know what? It's so easy to place this car. This car is a big, wide GT car, but it doesn't feel it from behind the wheel. Now, the things I don't like about the DBS Superleggera, not that much actually. The first thing is the brakes. They are carbon ceramic, but they can be just a tiny bit difficult to modulate at the top of the pedal, but I accept that as a compromise because they're mighty, mighty powerful. The other thing about this car is the weight. It does still feel like a heavy car, but what I love is this car has so much grip around the front end. The tyres are now 265 sections, so they're pretty mighty, and 305 in the rear. And I really like the chassis changes. Where in a DB11, the harder you pushed it, well, the less it felt comfortable. This car takes and soaks up the punishment. Before I drove this car, I expected this to be intimidating, savaged, and well, plainly unhinged. But do you know what? The more time you spend with this car, the more you realise that this car has been created to be driven every day by regular people, not superheroes, no race car driving talent needed here. This is approachable, this is easy to drive. This feels like it's on your side, which again, should not be like that. It should throw you off the road every time you breathe on a throttle. What Aston Martin has done, well, they've created a super sports car that feels even more desirable than a DB11. And that is some achievement.